Hello everyone, welcome to our first flipped lesson. In today's lesson, we will be understanding tenths, hundredths and thousandths. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to understand notation and place values of tenths, hundredths and thousandths, identify the values of the digits in a decimal, as well as use the number line to display decimals. Before we begin understanding decimals, let's recap what we've learned about whole numbers. If I have the number 32, I know that each digit has its own place value. The digit 3 is in the tenths place, while the digit 2 is in the ones place. So let's learn about decimal places. So this square represents one whole. If I were to take my one whole and divide it into 10 equal pieces, I would get this. So my whole has been divided into 10 equal pieces. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I were to shade one of these 10 equal pieces, I could write it as a fraction. The amount that was shaded is 1/10. So I can write 1 over 10. 1/10. I could also write it as a decimal. There are no wholes shaded, and I put my decimal point after that. Since there are 1/10 shaded, I will put this 1 behind the decimal point, which represents the 10th place. So this 1/10 is the same as this 1/10, and it's the same as this 1/10 over here. So let's try shading some more 10th. So I'm just going to delete this. Now I have 6/10 shaded. Again, I can write this as a fraction. 6 over 10. And I can also write this as a decimal. So I have no hole. I have no holes shaded, since I don't have any complete squares shaded, but I do have 6/10 shaded. So I put the decimal point and I put the 6 after the decimal point in the 10th place. So this 6/10 is the same as this 6/10, which is the same as this 6/10 in this picture. So let's say let's say I wanted to have even smaller pieces. Well, I could take each of these 10 equal pieces and divide them into 10 equal pieces. If I do that, I will have a picture that looks like this. So now my whole has been divided into 100 little boxes, because 10 times 10 is equal to 100. So let me shade some blocks here. So now I have 24 blocks shaded. So that is 24 out of 100. Alright? Now I can read this as 24/100ths, which I can also write as a decimals. So let's see how it looks like. So I have 0 ones, because I have no holes shaded. I put a decimal point there. Now my 24/100th is written like this. My 2 is in the 10th place, and my 4 is in the 100th place, which is the same as this fraction. So this decimal is the same as this fraction, which is the same as this picture here. Now notice that this 24/100th, I have the 2 in the 10th place, because this 2 corresponds to these 2 complete columns that I've shaded, and it looks like this one above. So this is actually 2/10. So that's why this 2 is under the 10th place. And this 4 blocks here is 4/100th. Now we can also divide each of these 100 pieces, take each of these 100 pieces and divide them into 10 equal pieces, and then we would have thousandths. So these pieces can actually get smaller and smaller and smaller. Now I can also represent tenths in a number line. So if I have 0 to 1 and I have 10 intervals, so I will have from 0 to 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and 1 whole. That corresponds to 1/10, 2/10, and all the way to 1 whole, which is 10/10. So if I take 1/10 and I further divide it into 10 equal pieces, my number line will look something like this. So right now 0 to 0.1, each interval will be 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05, 0.06, 0.07, 0.08, 0.09, and 0.1. That corresponds to the equivalent fraction of 100th, 200th, all the way to 10/100th. Now before we move on, let's do a little bit of recap of the concept of regrouping. Now for regrouping of whole numbers, you know that let's say if I have 11 ones, I can regroup 10 ones into the 10th place. So that will give me 1/10 and 1/1, and that's why the number is 11. Now I can use money to try and understand this concept as well. So let's say I have 11 coins, $1 coins. I can actually regroup these 10 coins, these 10 $1 coins, into $10, and it will look something like this. So I have regrouped my 10 $1 coins into $10. Alright? So let's use money to help us understand how we regroup tenths as well. So I have 10 10 cent coins here. Each 10 cent coin represents 1/10. Okay? So if I have 10 tenths, I would write it like this. Now, unfortunately, we cannot have 2 digits in each place. We only can have 1 digit in each place. So we can actually regroup this 10 into the ones place. And you know that if I have 10 10 cent coins, I can actually change it for a dollar. So likewise, I can actually represent this as 1.0. So that is to say that if I have 10 tenths, that will be equal to 1/1. Now likewise, if I have 10 hundredths, that will be equal to, yes, 1/10. So this is the part where we will do together. So you need to look at your worksheet and follow along. So question 1, write 34 tenths as a decimal. So I've got my place value chart here, and we will write 34 tenths like this. And 34 is actually made up of 30 and 4. Now this 30 can be regrouped as 3 ones. So my decimal will look like this, 3.4. So 34 tenths is actually 3.4. There is another faster way of changing 34 tenths into decimals. Now if we write 34 like this, you need to remember that there's always a hidden decimal point behind. And since the tenth is 1 decimal place, we jump by 1 place. So that will give me 3.4. Question 2. Write 3 9/10 as a decimal. My 3 wholes will remain as 3 wholes and 3 ones. My 9/10, I need to convert it to a decimal. Now 9/10, you know it's 0.9. So 3 9/10 is 3.9. So 3 9/10 as a decimal is 3.9. Question 3. Write the value of 7.8 in tenths. So now I have my place value chart here. I'm going to write 7.8 in there. Now I already have 8 tenths, so all I need to do now is to convert my 7 ones into tenths. Okay, so just remember 10 tenths is equal to 1 1. So that means if I have 7 ones, I will have 70 tenths. So 70 plus 8, it will give me 78 tenths. So 7.8 is 78 tenths. So this is the part where you will try on your own. Question 1. Write 687 tenths as a decimal. You should pause the video, attempt the question before playing the video because I will review the answers after that. You can pause the video now. So what's the answer for 687 tenths as a decimal? So tenth is actually 0.1. So what we can do is we can write 687, and because it's 1 decimal place, we will jump by 1 position to the left. And so 687 tenths is 68.7 as a decimal. Question number 2. Write 64/10 as a decimal. You can pause the video now. So what's the answer? Well, 64/10 is the same as 64 tenths. So I can move back by 1 decimal point. So that will give me 6.4. Question 3. Write the value of 26.5 in tenth. You can pause the video now.
So converting from decimal to tenth is the opposite of converting from tenth to decimal. So when I convert tenth to decimal, I move to the left. So now I will move to the right. I'll move to the right. Okay. So 26.5 in tenth is 265 tenths. Now let's do this question together. Question 1. Write 99 hundredths as a decimal. So because hundredth is 2 decimal places, we will move our hidden decimal point by 2 places to the left, and that will give us 0.99. So 99 hundredths as a decimal is 0.99. Question 2. Write 239 over 100 as a decimal. Or in other words, write 239 hundredths as a decimal. So my 2 will remain as 2 ones. My 39 hundredths, I will move by 2 positions. So it will be 2.39. So this is your answer. Question 3, write the value of 3.81 in hundredths. So this is the opposite of question 1 and 2. So again, hundredth is 2 decimal places. So now instead of moving left, I will move my decimal point to the right. So that will give me 381 hundredths. So it's time for you to try on your own. Question 1, write 3 hundredths as a decimal. This should be easy. You can pause the video now. And so 3 hundredths as a decimal is 0.03. Now this is very straightforward. Question 2, write 64 over 100 as a decimal. You can pause the video now. And 64 over 100 shouldn't give you a problem as well. The answer is 0.64. And finally, write the value of 1.5 in hundredths. You can pause the video now. And so the answer is, now hundredth is 2 decimal places, so I will jump this by 2. Now you notice that I have a blank here. Now whenever there's an empty space here, you will fill it with 0. Okay, so how this will look like is, this is 150 hundredths. Alright, so we've come to the end of today's lesson. I hope that after this video you are now able to understand the notation and place values of tenths, hundredths and thousandths. You're able to identify the values of the digits in the decimal and able to use the number line to display decimals. If you have any question, please do feel free to put in your question into the Google Docs, or come to school and ask. See you.